All right, Jack, we're back and better than ever. Welcome back to the Colin Thompson Show, brought to you by Not For Long Media. We are coming to you live on Twitter, on YouTube, not on Facebook. Thank you, Facebook. And we are hanging out, and we're really excited to have the great Mark Farzetta join the show. Mark is someone who was born and raised, I shouldn't say born, but raised in my hometown of Doylestown, Pennsylvania, and then went on to go to Archbishop Wood, where I went to school, and then went on to Temple, where I went to school. And we have a lot in common, obviously, where schools we graduated from, towns we grew up in. And Mark has had a ton of success in the Philly sports media scene, a true grinder. This episode's not all about just what it takes to be a sports media person, just what it takes to have success. Mark was very gracious with his time. So a really fun episode with Mark. We're going to put on the back end of our introduction like we usually do with me and Jack. So Mark, again, can't thank you enough for your time. What a true pro. Someone does it the right way in this industry. And now his own show, The Farzy Show, every morning, Monday through Friday, I believe 6 to 7 a.m. Could be wrong there, but I know it's early in the morning and maybe an hour or 2 hours. So covers really all sports, but primarily Philly sports, and does a great job with it. So Mark, again, thank you for joining the show. Everything we do here, guys, brought to you by our friends over at the original Fudge Kitchen. I was there this past weekend. Holy cow, man. They're getting things ready for Easter. It is popping off in there. So Easter this year, no better gift. Sent someone a chocolate bunny. I had a chocolate Easter bunny, Jack. Fudge was amazing. Getting me in the Easter spirit here. So again, Fudge Kitchen, they ship fudge, sweet treats, all those goodies across the country. Check out their website, fudgekitchens.com. All right, Jack, how you doing, buddy? How was your weekend, pal?
It was splendid. I got to spend my Friday evening with a couple of cool guys at Gall & Co. in Port Richmond, Philadelphia.
Ah, yes. The Sam Boners took their show on the road. Went down to Gall & Co. Shocker, bar of the week this week. This place was tremendous. I'll just jump right ahead and do the bar of the week now. I mean, Jack, you're not a big bar goer like myself, but you do like going to, having wings, chicken tenders, not boneless wings. You like to go, you know what a good bar looks like. That place is unbelievable.
Yeah, it was just absolutely tremendous. It's truly unique. I mean, we'll talk about, but I mean, it is in a old church, so the ceilings were tremendously high. You actually had like booths that were set up. I think they said they weren't pews anymore, but it looked like pews just how it was. The stage that we were on was the altar. You could see like the back room and everything. That was like the altar boys room and everything like that. So it was just a really cool setup. Obviously, they had a bunch of TVs surrounding the bar. But I mean, yeah, it was definitely unique. I don't know if there's really any other place set up like it. I mean, I don't know how many former bars or former churches turned bars there are in our great country, but I can't
No,
imagine there's too many.
this place right in Port Richmond was unbelievable. So, bar of the week this week on the Colin Thompson Show, brought to you by our friends over at the original Fudge Kitchen, fudgekitchens.com, is none other than Gall & Co. Malt House, excuse me. We're going to redo that whole thing, Jack. My dog's in the room now. So we have a puppy in the family now, and she has now entered the room. Usually she's upstairs hanging, but my wife's running some errands. So she's, looking for some love and some adoration. I'm giving it to her. So again, the bar of the week this week on the Colin Thompson Show is malt. Geez, I'm all over the place. Is Gall & Co. The bar of the week this week on the Colin Thompson Show is Gall & Co. Malt House in Port Richmond, Philadelphia. This place was unbelievable. I said to somebody today on the phone, I said, I think it's a top 5 bar I've ever been to in my entire life. First off, the bar, huge square bar, really cool, really fun, really accessible, a lot going on. Second, they have these huge church pews for people to sit down and have meals at. They have big dining area. They have games for kids. They just have absolutely a ton going on for things to do for like families to go and eat or just to go there with friends and watch games. You really can't beat it. So absolutely love the place. The wings, the food was incredible. Like unbelievable. The cheesesteaks were ridiculous. The Kabasi cheesesteak was amazing. Guy Fieri's been there before. The wings were just ridiculously well flavored and seasoned, and they brined them in pickle juice. Like it was something ridiculous. Everything was above and beyond what you expect. Service was great. So for me, Gall & Co. Malt House, Port Richmond. Food and ambiance 5, cold beer 4. TVs 5, and the service 5. This place, shout out to Matt and his team there, took care of the Samboners and us, Jack. It was great. To me, it's a top 5, top 10 bar I've ever been to. What a cool little area, Port Richmond too. So it was cool, Jack. Warmed my heart a little bit. I walked out. They have the playground across the street. There's a basketball court. There's 2 kids playing hockey on it. Brought their own net, brought their own sticks, the whole nine. I was like jacked up about that. It's not a crazy sport, right, in America. Like it is. The U.S. hockey team now is loaded with players. It's taken off. Don't get me wrong, but warm my heart a little bit, Jack. Be honest with you. Warm my heart a little bit. Remind me of my childhood, Jackie. Were you playing hockey growing up, Jack?
I love street hockey, but I have an infamous terrible sense of center balance. I like terrible riding, but I could not skate. Like none of that. I love. Are you
still terrible riding a bike?
Yes.
Can you ride?
I can do it. I can. Yes. I'm just not very good at it.
Okay.
But no, we love playing street hockey. Like in elementary school, like we had forget what it was called, but like we would play in our cafe gymatorium. Like we had little hockey 5-on-5s like an hour after school, like once a week in the winter. It was like the best part of everybody's week was just playing the hockey. We'd play in the street sometimes. Yeah, I was a big street hockey type guy. But
dude, after school program when I was a kid, amazing. Like my parents, right, for parents that you can't go home or whatever, my parents would, like, your first couple of years, right, when you're younger, 1st through 3rd grade, 4th grade, the bus drops you off, right, and my parents aren't home for work for another 4 hours or 3 hours. So they go to after school program. They feed you a snack and you play sports the whole time? Are you kidding me? Time you spend 30 minutes doing your homework and then you shoot hoops for the next 2.5 hours with all your friends. Like that was the greatest. That was huge for my athletic development. Let me just say that. It was massive. Every day you're playing sports for 3 hours, no matter what, with a group. So I didn't live in a big neighborhood per se. It was a couple houses and it wasn't stacked with kids. Still some friends from today, which is crazy. It's been a while, but
I could talk to them. That's the unique part of our group. Like our elementary group is still around. It's like they all live in a neighborhood and I live directly next to the neighborhood. And as we were growing up, there's a big field that was perfect for football. So we always play football there. There's a basketball court, right down the street we play basketball at. And the elementary school that we went to is torn down, replaced, brand new. It looks like a high school, to be honest. It's probably bigger than CB West right now, to be quite honest with you. And they put brand new basketball courts up and we still play. Same kids since 4th grade. We still play basketball there once a week.
I love it. Jack in the back, shooting jumpers from deep, like Joel and B.
If anybody wants to see my jump shot, look back 4 months to when I was on the court for a free throw contest at Sixers. Worst jump shot you've ever seen. I love playing basketball. I'm way better at defense than I'm at offense by a country mile.
Big effort guy. Good job, Jack. I love it. I'm proud that you're part of Non-For-Long Media if you're an effort defender. Okay. I thought this was interesting, Jack. I saw this on Athletic before we jumped on. This is big news for the NFL. NFL owners voted to allow physical sportsbook to operate on game days starting with 2023 season. League sources tell the Athletic. The vote occurred Monday with NFL owners meetings in Scottsdale, Arizona. Here's what they found. Let's see. Revenue from the sports books will not be shared with other teams up until a certain threshold, believed to be around 20 million, and then pooled with the other 31 clubs for any money that exceeds that bar. Very interesting. The move in the latest sign of NFL's growing to embrace legalized gambling. The Washington Commanders are the only team with a brick and mortar sports book in their stadium, though the Arizona Cardinals and the New York Giants and Jets have one outside their venue. So I think teams are going to be building brick and mortar very quickly inside their stadiums. If you can get casino, if you can get sports betting, if you can get any sort of gambling inside of an establishment, you saw what happened when it was legalized in Jersey. If you went into a casino in Atlantic City, they were just literally putting pieces of paper with the lines on them, small pencils for people to check off what they want, and windows for you to gamble in with a couple 40-inch screen TVs on the wall. Now the sports books there are insane. They're unbelievable to go watch games at. People parade down there for March Madness. The sports gambling is, I don't know if saved Atlantic City, but it's kept it afloat. I'm assuming for someone who doesn't know a lot about the area, but a little bit. It's pretty interesting stuff. So who's it going to affect? The shift affects only the teams and states with legalized sports gambling. Slightly more than 33 states and Washington, D.C. allow sports betting, encompassing roughly 17 NFL franchises. The biggest states not yet to have it are Texas, Florida, California. So huge NFL brands in those states, obviously, which 8 NFL teams, more than half the league's clubs, will not allow sports betting in their state. So some of those are on state lines. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm just reading the article from The Athletic. Athletic's amazing. Love subscribing to them. But an interesting thing that I just saw here, Jack, what are your thoughts on initially as a fan? Are you a sports gambling guy?
I feel like I'm contractually obligated to say yes to that question, not by Not For Long Media, but as with part of the Ross Tucker Football
Well, you
podcast.
don't have to be, Jack, honestly. So, okay, DraftKings Sportsbook, yeah, they take care of Ross Tucker Pod, but that doesn't mean, and you're the producer for it and do everything, man, per usual, like you are for us. But that doesn't mean you can be honest, right? Like, do you gamble? Like, you could say yes or no or no comment, but like, as you're a fan, are you like, would you go and say you're going to an Eagles game? Would you go in there and say, hey, listen, I'm going to get in line here and I'm going to put $10 on the Eagles today? Would you do that? Does that give you a thrill or no?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like a heavy gambler just because, being a college student in America, I don't really have much money to throw around. But I mean, one of the best, like when I'm going to like a Sixers game or like Eagles, wherever I've been going, like our Phillies in the summer, it's like it adds more fun to it. It keeps you engaged more. Like I don't go anything crazy. Like if anything, it's like, oh, like the most when I go out with my friends, like we'll put $5 on like money line or whatever, and then we'll do like a parlay of like hit a home run, hits.
So casual.
Points.
So a casual.
Yeah.
Fan gambler. That's cool. No, it's interesting. It's obviously not my world as a player, but to see, I think it's going to be big. I think when you're over like in Europe watching soccer, there's no sports book. The teams are the sports book. You go in there and that's, again, I've never experienced that. It was not like that at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for what I saw, but several of my friends that have gone there before said that this is how you gamble over there. They enjoy that more, of course, because it's just something different. But yeah, it's just food for thought. It's no big segment for us, but lots to discuss. Shots and Giggles, guys, the premier bar in Key West, Florida. Locals hanging out, chopping it up. You may be sitting next to a billionaire. You may be sitting next to someone who just fishes for a living. You may be sitting next to the best bartender in town. You may be sitting next to a diehard Eagles fan. You may be sitting next to a diehard Cowboys fan. It is an awesome place with people from all different backgrounds. Super nice, super friendly. The best bartenders and the best owners in Stephen Hanya in the world. Love it down there. I miss it. Hopefully I can get down there mid-April for the Blue Angels. So lots to discuss always at Shots and Giggles, especially during football season. But in the offseason, you can't beat it. It's the NFC East bar. So always something for everybody, whether you're an NFC East fan or you're a hater of one of those teams. Somebody always hates the Eagles. Somebody always hates Cowboys. So it's a great place to fun, chop it up, have a great time. Really great location right off the Ball Street, right behind Sloppy Joe's. Check them out. shotsandgiggleskw.com. All right, Jack. March Madness thoughts.
I did terrible, man. I knew nothing about, I think we talked about this before. I really knew nothing about March Madness going into this season. I kind of took all of my picks on a whim just based on my ideologies about certain seedings, making it far, I don't like having too many 1 seeds go far, which worked out well for me this year. But I had Virginia in my Final Four, and I think they're like the second game they lost.
Yeah.
I had Kansas State winning it all, which was great for me until they lost in the Elite Eight, but that was a great run for me. But every other team I had eliminated. I think Kansas State and like Gonzaga were the 2 teams I had making it to the Elite Eight that actually made it that far. I'm sure everybody's bracket is completely busted by this point because I
got lucky with UConn, right? I just read an article and I just liked that team, but I didn't watch them in the regular season, Jack. And these people that are doing well, they didn't watch any of these games in regular season. You can't. Your mind will lie to you. There's no way you sit down logically and say, I'm going to take this team here. So credit to, it's great. And there's a lot to break down in it. We don't need to go too far on it. I saw Seth Greenberg on ESPN yesterday. Really good, interesting topic from him. There's no one and done players in this Final Four. There's no freshmen. There's no All-American. And it's really all built through like program established players and a couple players in a transfer portal, which I think is awesome. Like everyone's complaining, right? It's so funny. Everybody complains about everything, right? And then you get on shows and everyone talks about people complaining about stuff, right? Because that's just how it is. But my point is, at the end of the day, that's a great recipe for people complaining about NIL, people complaining about programs and blue bloods always making it. And we need to mix up. It's always Duke, UNC, Kentucky, and Kansas. Well, you got it. Don't complain about it now, So I think it's all good. You got to take it for what it's worth. There's a lot to unpack, right? We're not going to go through all these games. We're not going to unpack it because it's just ridiculous. There's so many games. It's the best time of year. So it was a great point.
I think I saw a stat. It was like the total number of Final Four appearances by these 4 teams this year is 9. 5 of them are UConn, just in previous entries, and then the other 4 are literally every team making it this year. So it's
great. It's unique. It's been fun to watch for sure. I'll say this, Jack. We are in a sweet spot in the sports calendar. I think it's the best time of year because if you go to the football season, which is unbelievable, right? College football, NFL, it's never ending. There's no championships until like the new year. So you have like 5 months of season, which is great. It's fun. NBA starts then. MLB's winding down. That's like your one championship. NBA's rocking and rolling, getting started just after the NHL, I believe. So that's a great time. It's an exciting time, but it's not like what's about to happen. You got March Madness, March and early April. You have the NBA playoffs. You have the NHL playoffs. You have the Masters. You have the NFL draft. If you're a Premier League fan and Champions League fan, they both finish up. Kentucky Derby, and then move to the Summer College World Series. So, and then obviously baseball season starting. So you have, to me, this is the best time of year. You have major championships across all major sports. If you're a baseball fan, college baseball has been unreal so far. Check out Breaking Bats. We talked about it on there. There's a lot to, obviously, with the MLB and spring training, and then the World Baseball Classic. That was fantastic. So there's just a lot going on. To me, it's the sweet spot in the calendar every year. Buckle up. It started with March Madness, and it's an absolute tremendous run. From when the Super Bowl ends, there's a gap, and then March Madness starts, and it's chaos until midsummer. You take a break. There's a little drama sometime in the summer in the NFL, and boom, right back at it. College football's got 80 games on the first weekend in one city, and we're rocking and rolling.
Really? I mean, definitely, it's nice being in the downswing of football after for a very lengthy season, working in it from a media perspective, getting able to enjoy the other sports while the draft is ramping up, all that stuff. So it's so exciting. I mean, the NFL, I mean, this is by far the most entertaining start of the offseason. Usually, like these couple of weeks is like when things die down a bit, but really seems like it hasn't skipped a beat in terms of holding the media's attention for the last several weeks.
Yeah, it really has. The NFL, between Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson, I mean, I can't watch ESPN anymore as my dog comes trampling in here. ESPN or not, you know, I love NFL Network, like these great shows, and they're doing a great job trying to talk about something else, but it's hard not to, right? Like, it's really hard not to talk about what's going on in the world today of sports because they're the two former MVPs, like 2 generational talents in the NFL, and they're both in the move. So there's a lot to discuss there. And I personally want to get into all, but I just can't professionally. It's really hard for me. Like, it's easy for me to talk amongst my friends at a bar and be like, hey, this is what I think is going to happen here. What's going to happen there? But for me, professionally, to make a comment about what's going to happen with a player, I don't really like to dabble in that woods. But Jack, what do you think happens with Lamar Jackson? Jack?
I just feel like all signs are pointing towards Lamar Jackson ending up back in Baltimore. They have whatever it is, the franchise tag. It's not an exclusive franchise. No, I think it's really called a non-exclusive franchise tag. But I mean, every team that has come out and it's been linked to Lamar have pretty much said, nah, we're good. Washington literally said like 2 days ago, we're fine with Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett. Indianapolis said, we are interested in our team. We don't want to give a fully guaranteed contract. Atlanta earlier today committed to Desmond Ridder as their starter. There are really no other teams out there that need a quarterback. New York is not straying away from Aaron Rodgers. That's just not how they're going to roll. I mean, who else is out there that needs a quarterback? Tampa Bay seems to be fine with going in with Kyle Trask and Baker. Like, it doesn't really
I would
seem
say
like
it's funny season, Jack. I wouldn't believe all what you read, buddy.
My thing is, though, with teams in open negotiations at quarterback, I feel like it's never been this blatantly all teams going out and saying, no, we're good right away. I mean, when else have you ever seen so many teams say that about a quarterback?
I'll say this. This is what I'm going to say. That was a hell of an intro. I'll say this. This is what I'm going to say. Real professional. I'll say this, Jack. I think that he ends up with the Ravens, or after the draft, a team is on the cusp of being good and moving out of the top 10, the top 15 draft picks where you're going to get the blue chip players, where if they have a good year, they're going to be out of that pool and they're going to be a playoff team. So a bad team or average team this year, that could be a playoff team that has a little bit of cap space. They're going to draft a blue chip player because they found themselves with a top 15 pick. And then the following 2 years, they're going to forfeit their next draft picks and go get Lamar. That's would be my, that's to me, that's no hot take or anything. I just think that's what would happen. Obviously, two options, right? But I don't think it's like before that. I don't know if a team would give up. Who knows? I just think we have no idea. And to sit here and say we think this and that is crazy. I always tell people, fans, friends, Jack, everyone who's involved and wants to be involved with the NFL. I've been extremely blessed to be involved with it. It's been my childhood dream and goal, and I've been blessed to make it. I hope I continue to play. Read 10% of it. Whatever you read and listen to is 10% of it's true. 10%. Like, can you watch a coach's press conference? People really think that's gospel. Now, I know some fans are like, but they still at the end of the day refer back to it. It's like, oh, you see the coach's mood? He's pissed. It's like, you don't know. Like, it's all facade. There's so much that is 0.001% of the coach's day, GM's day, whoever's answering the questions. They aren't giving anybody anything. And not even for competitive advantage. It's just like, yeah, that's my take on all of it. Guys, shout out to our friend SeatGeek, Colin, Thompson. Use that promo code, $20 off your tickets for $50. Hit that up. All these baseball games going on, you want to get $20 off. Check them out. Jack, I know you want to talk about promo code Colin Thompson, SeatGeek. You want to talk about your boys over Fanatics, Michael Rubin, taking shots. What do you got, Jack, in the back? What do you have to say right now if Michael was on the show?
I am extremely disappointed. It's something I've been vocal about for quite some time. I have been extremely disappointed in the NHL's decision to move forward with Fanatics. I think this is also just a fault of NHL really not being as profitable to these other brands. But it's just hurt because Fanatics for somebody who lives under a rock, Fanatics is a clothing apparel brand, specifically sports. And they pretty much control, if you go to like the Eagles team shop, 95% of team shops across all Big Four sports are run by Fanatics. They are notorious for, their quality, and to sum it up, is probably the worst I've seen of any sports gear ever. I've seen multiple people, because I'm a big jersey guy. So like I go on like jersey, like subreddits, and people will like, they will do tests and they will order the same jersey 3 times. And 1 out of the 3 jerseys will always be messed up in one significant way. The player's last name will be spelled wrong. There will be a wrong number. It'll be missing something significant. The alignment of things will be wrong. The screen printed jerseys are terrible quality, and they upcharge them much more. I mean, like the Adidas screen printed jersey, they sold $70 back in 2015 or whatever. Those were, they were screen printed jerseys, but it was like a nice vinyl pressed. These is just like, they are not great quality. And it's just, they are starting to lower their quality and spread themselves too thin, and I don't like it. And it just seems like it's not good. NHL stuff has been atrocious in terms of quality. And for example, the NFL, Nike, they've been trying to release throwback jerseys that got approved last year. A lot of the stuff couldn't get done because Fanatics didn't have enough stock in place to get them out. That's also a Nike issue, but it was between the both of them. Phillies couldn't wear baby blue jerseys until like June last year because they couldn't get enough shipment in time. Eagles, Kelly Green, they literally said it was because, I think it was Tampa Bay, literally came out and said, we cannot produce the creamsicle jerseys this year because of supply issues.
Well, that's not on Fanatics.
But they're the supplier.
Yeah, but they're not the supplier, though. There's a supplier before the supplier where they get the jerseys from. That's the issue, Jack. That's a global issue.
All right. Well, again, this is like issue number 7 of like my stuff with Fanatics. It's just,
I get it.
They haven't shown me anything. And this is my last thing, and I want you to take over. It's just the alarm. They have not shown a commitment to make a better quality good. Now, I'm not saying they got to come out here and make like old school Mitchell and Ness, but even Mitchell and Ness, they bought out Mitchell and Ness, a company that is known for throwback jerseys of extremely high quality. Now they have a premium price to it, which is fair. They're very good. They're expensive. Fanatics immediately dipped the quality and changed their stitching quality to iron-on stuff from purely stitched, and they kept the price and probably made about $30 cheaper. They are ruining the integrity of sporting goods, in my honest opinion. And I hope Michael Rubin, like maybe the NHL and seeing this stuff, maybe he comes out and makes great authentic jerseys. I don't know. And I would hope to see it change. I would love to see a massive company make goods this way. But everything this show made, it's no bueno.
Interesting points on Fanatics and Michael Rubin. Personally, I think they're going to do a fantastic job for the NFL. And here's why. Excuse me, for the NHL. And here's why. It is extremely important for them to do really well because the players are going to give instant feedback. And nowadays, people give feedback publicly right away. So Nike, they make our jerseys. The ones we put on our backs when we play. There is nothing, even like an authentic jersey that you can buy online, like the jersey we put on their back. You wouldn't sell them. Fans wouldn't even be comfortable in them. There's no such thing. They're not even remotely close. So whatever Fanatics makes for fans, whatever Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, they're not even remotely close to the player's jersey that we put on. They're like completely different things. They're night and day. So I am sure Fanatics will be in contact with tons of people to try to find a way to get the best product on these players' back so the players enjoy it. And it's a win-win for Fanatics, the NHL, and the players. Because it's what at the end of the day, it's all about. Like their deal, yes, is publicly to have that Fanatics logo on the jersey. But also, if it's a bad product and the players hate it, the NHL will just say, we're out. So I don't think that's going to be the case. That's a whole, there's two separate issues. That's what I'm saying, Jack, compared to what the players are going to wear on their backs and what the fans are going to put on their backs. So it's a business, and I'm sure cost-wise, it's less for them, and that's why jerseys are made that way.
All I will say is if we ever revisit this conversation, you are not allowed to make a rebuttal about how great they are until at least 2025. Because one part of it is they are still going to be using the Adidas. They basically came out and said it's the factory that makes the Adidas jerseys for the on ice. I know it's at least on ice. I don't know if it's the high quality retail versions. They are keeping the exact same factory as Adidas, just swapping out the logos. And then 2026 or whatever, they're changing everything over. So I don't want it. I get your point. I hope it's right, but you're not allowed to rebuttal and say you were right until 2026. Just a little.
We got breaking news, Jack. NFL play. Look at you going to Twitter. NFL players can wear number 0 next season. What are your thoughts, Jackie? The big news is going to be all over. It's going to be big time. What do you got for me, Golick and Greeny? What do you got? Let's go to national radio for this one. This will be the talk all day tomorrow on radio.
Probably. And I'm not like I said, I'm not against changing the rule. I just don't like how 0 looks on football jerseys.
I used to wear 00 in hockey, by the way.
It doesn't. Basketball, I mean, basketball seems like the only sport where 0 can be pulled off well. Like these are probably the one great and the terrible comparison. Damian Lillard and Spencer Hawes, because they're the first people that come to my mind when I think of 0 and 00. 00 looks a little weird in basketball, but 0 is fine in my opinion. I just don't know how it's going to look on football jersey. I know college does it. I really haven't seen it in action. I think Oregon, I might have seen a 0. It just doesn't look right. It's weird, in my honest opinion. And maybe I'll grow to it. I mean, I'm not saying it's the worst thing to happen. It's really not that big a deal. I'm all for it. It's just, I don't know. Like, how do you feel if like your quarterback just tried out wearing number 0? It just doesn't fit right with me.
I could care less.
The only position I see it fit, I can see a wide receiver or a running back wearing 0. I can't see like a defensive end. And I'm trying to think what other numbers were single digits, tight ends, quarterbacks. I don't see any of them wearing 0. A wide receiver, running back are the only ones I can see a number 0 in.
Is 0 even a number?
Technically it is, because I was literally looking it up. It's a rational number. It is because it has like an integer to it.
0. Poof. We can't count it. I don't care what guys wear, honestly. I thought everyone made a bigger deal about the only issue I would say is is players don't wear like linebackers are allowed to wear like 5, and then the safeties are allowed to wear like a 50. You're like 45. Well, then Brady brought it up too. Like, who's the Mike? Who's the Sam? Like that's a issue. You got to fit. It's on a some players playing our safeties playing in linebacker numbers, and then sometimes a linebacker's wearing a safety number. So, or a DB number. So you kind of got to know who the heck the guys are before you be able to know the numbers a little bit and be like, hey, this guy's so-and-so. So that's something to keep an eye on. I thought that was something that's been interesting. I bet there's been a mistake or two a year, maybe a little bit more. Oh, there's been more on, hey, is that the corners, is that the safety? Who am I blocking here? Especially the tight end position, how you're navigating things with the fullback, etc. So that's the only issue for me with the number changing. But whatever numbers you want, rock it, Jack. We're coming to you live here. Jack Cano, what do you think about the numbers? Bring it on down. Guys, Som Sleep, the best sleep in the world. Get up, rock, kick ass the next day. Promo code Colin. Remember, SeatGeek, promo code Colin Thompson for the tickets. It's ticket season now. Baseball games, concerts, the whole 9 this summer's coming. You heard the just ridiculous number of events coming up on the sports calendar. ActionsOverWordsApparel.com. Check them out. Always donating a profit of their proceeds to the charity of their choice. Anything else, Jackie? We should send it over to the great Mark Farzetta, Archbishop Wood alum, Temple alum.
I don't know. I feel like we kind of covered everything. I feel like the jersey-related issues were kind of I'm curious for your Paul. Yesterday, it was announced that Dave Scott would be retiring at the end of the year as the governor of the Philadelphia Flyers, and the old boys club.
The governor.
Yes, and according to our friends at Crossing Broad, I think they officially call him the governor. Is what
the gov. Okay, continue.
And according to our friends over at Crossing Broad, there are reports that Bobby Clark, I forget who the other two are. The other 2 members of the boys club will be allowed in the organization, but they are not going to be senior advisors moving forward. They're going to be more like a celebratory, thank you for your service role.
It is such a crying shame the Flyers are what they are. They're one of the worst teams in sports. Think about that. The Philadelphia Flyers, that brand, is one of the worst teams in sports. It hurts to say. I'm going to have to just not look. But I can't. We have group text built in. I'm going to play fantasy hockey. What? It's a shame. The NHL playoffs are going to be, every year, the best. Every year, I think it's the best. Top 2, top 3 championships in all of sports. But man, they have to get Bedard. They have to. If they get him, there's hope. If not, they are done. They have to go 3-4 years of a tank. You just lost your franchise goaltender. He's gonna be 29 by then. It's over. So they have to get the first pick, maybe land one of these other studs that has to come in and play right away and be dominant, or they're done. They're done. So it's a shame. It's hard for me to talk about, Jack. I hate it, man. I absolutely hate it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. What else? I'm going to finish up with one other thing, and it slipped my mind. Oh, God, whatever. Laid back, relaxed episode with Jack in the back today, as always. Jack, thanks for all you do. Again, Not For Long Media. Check out all our podcasts. I appreciate everybody at our team working their freaking asses off. All those social media clips, all the posting, all the sponsorship. Shout out to everyone at Gall. Shout out to Mick, the Samboners, for a great event there. And appreciate everybody tuning in. Really do. It's been a great ride. It's been a great ride. We have a bunch of new episodes coming up soon. We have some big time guests coming up in the future. So thanks, Jack. Thank you, team. I hope everybody is doing great. And we're going to send it over to Mark Farzetta. Thanks, Mark.